Well, with the longer days arriving, we get the itch to go outside and put some flowers out in our containers. Well, just a word of warning, in our area where I live, the last frost date is May the 23rd, and we've got weeks to go before we can safely put out our tender annuals. So I've come down here to Chanticleer Gardens, who specialize in putting containers out very early, but they use well-chosen plants that can take a little bit of cold, but still make a dramatic effect. Now I'm going to meet Catherine Barry, who's going to talk to us about some of the container planting. So let me get off my knees, which is a struggle, and go meet Catherine. Well, Catherine, this is a lovely little area, yeah?
Yes, this is our kitchen courtyard. And as a kitchen courtyard, we have to have herbs. So in these pots, you'll see some sage, creeping rosemary, kales, and we also have lavender.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I just love the way that staircase goes up, and you've got is it a bay tree?
Yes, yeah, bay laurel.
Bay laurel on that one, which is again pretty hardy. You can't overwinter it outside, but it can certainly go out when it's cold.
It can still come out quite early, which is nice.
That's beautiful. And you've got pots of cascading rosemary in full flower. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yes. Those we've grown on over the years. They were started off as little tiny plugs like these ones, and now about 3 years later after being overwintered.
So bring it in as a house plant, look after it well.
Yes, exactly.
Don't forget to water it.
Exactly.
Don't overwater it. So what's the big central piece then? What's going on here?
These are olives from the Mediterranean that we overwinter in our greenhouses and bring out in early spring.
They might produce olives?
Yes, a little bit.
Not a whole lot, but that's kind of cool. But in keeping with a kitchen garden.
Exactly.
All right, let's go and have a look at another part of a yard. Well, Catherine, let's talk containers, because you don't have to go to a shop and buy an expensive one. You can buy all kinds of containers.
Absolutely. Yeah, anything to make it work depending on the scale of your display. There's tons of options of different materials.
And I've seen Wellington boots, I've seen all kinds of shoes and things like that. There's ceramic ones that are heavy.
Yes.
Metal ones which you can drop without causing any damage. Permanent plantings like these could almost be like house plants.
Yes,
that you just bring out.
Yeah, we bring these in the winter time, and then we bring them back out at the end of March, early April. I
have to say, I thought this was ill, but apparently it's a variegated form of bay leaf, bay laurel.
Sicilian sunshine.
Absolutely, very nice. And in terms of the plants that you put in it, I mean, there are like house plants that can come inside and you can bring them out when the weather gets warm enough. But I see you've got perennials planted in some of these.
Yes, we have these coral bells in here that really are there. They will flower, but they're really there for the foliar interest. They kind of carry over the display while a lot of the other annuals are kind of just ramping up and getting started.
And again, the perennials are quite cold hardy. Mine are already moving quite happily, so you can certainly plant those in containers.
Yes, they're perfect, and then maybe when you're done you could put them back out into the landscape as well in your garden. One
tip I have learnt over the years, some of the containers kind of flare, sort of do the opposite. They turn in at the top, and if you're planting sort of permanent plants like this, to try and get those containers, to get the plant out of the container is impossible. So I see over there you've got these wonderful flared out containers that if you did plant a shrub, you can take it out without having to cut all the roots or damage a container.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Well, have a look at this. This is certainly a touch of contemporary, very modernistic. Tell us what's going on here.
All right, well, we have at the base, we have a viola honeybee, we've got a sedum, and we've got brass buttons towards the back.
Still ground cover. So what's all this?
Coming out of the pots are stems that we've cut off, or branches from Catinus, the smoke tree.
The smoke bush, we prune ours back every year.
Yes,
And every year it will grow 4 or 5 feet.
Exactly.
What a great idea.
Yeah, just to add some extra height and interest.
Kind of exaggerating my vertical height or need of vertical height, but next to the narrow French door, looks fantastic. And this wall is a bit bleak, a bit barren, isn't it? But with these next to it, the shadow and the shape's brilliant. Well, it's amazing how just a couple of small planters can bring something alive. And I have to say, I do like where you've got these planters matching up some of the kind of the porcelain, the tile work. It's kind of really nice.
Yeah, it works nice to echo the two together. And it's kind of fun to have that variegated red campion in there that kind of just gives it that extra lift from the rest of the green.
A little bit of curly parsley.
Yes. We love our herbs.
As well, it just gives a lovely texture to the foliage. So I love the way these two little planters draw you along this beautiful, what do you call it, a rill?
Yeah, this is a rill.
It's a long, narrow waterway. Catherine, I do like this antirrhinum or snapdragon, but this one doesn't snap, does he? Well, a little bit, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, and it relates really nicely to the stock that's in here, which gives it that really
just
nice
starting to flower,
fragrance.
But one thing, the reason we stopped here is just to kind of give you a little bit of warning in terms of placement of plant. Now, a planter that curves in like this, it's difficult to get, say you had a shrub in there, it'd be difficult to get the shrub out.
For sure.
But remember, we want the rain to naturally get in. So if you have a container that comes in like this, the amount of rain can get in the container can be a problem.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you've got a container that does the opposite, it's going to catch lots of rain and keep the soil moister.
Certainly, yeah. Something like this, you definitely want to check routinely just to make sure it's getting enough water, because you will have to supplement.
Will stop the rain. It's kind of like an umbrella.
Exactly, it just wicks right off.
Well, you certainly can tell that spring is here. You can hear the bees buzzing, the birds chirping, and of course the lawnmowers roaring. Now, when it comes to containers, they're mobile, so you can change how you arrange them. Formal pattern, a straight line, or something irregular like this. There's a lot you can do. Now don't go away. When we come back, we've got a lot more from Chanticleer Gardens.